Good morning, and welcome to the Modern Families Podcast. Today, we're discussing a question that many parents think about in our digital world. Should parents monitor their children's online activity? To help us explore this topic, we have two excellent guests. David Chen is a cybersecurity consultant and a father who believes monitoring is very important for safety. Dr. Emily Carter is a child psychologist who thinks that building trust and teaching digital skills is a better way. Our goal today is to understand both sides, to help you, our listeners, make good decisions for your families. David, let's start with you. Why do you believe monitoring is so important?
Thank you, Sarah. I want to start by saying that the internet is a wonderful tool for learning and connecting with people. However, we must remember that it's also a public space. And, like any public space, it has real dangers. These dangers are not just stories. They happen every day. First, there is cyberbullying. This is when children receive unkind and hurtful messages, often from people they know, like classmates. This can make a child feel very sad and alone, and it can seriously affect their happiness and school life. Without monitoring, a parent might not know this is happening until the situation is very bad. Then, there is the risk of children talking to strangers. Online, it's very easy for dangerous adults or predators to pretend they're someone else, maybe even another child. They can try to get personal information from your child or ask them to do things that are not safe. Finally, there is so much content online that is simply not for children. This includes violent videos, pictures, or websites with adult themes that can be very confusing or scary for a young person. Some people see monitoring as spying, but I see it as digital supervision. Think about it this way. You would not let your 8-year-old child go to a big city park alone and say, "Be careful." You would go with them, watch them, and make sure they are safe. The internet is like a giant global park with no walls. Good monitoring should not be a secret. It should be an open agreement with your child. The conversation can be simple. We are giving you this phone or computer, which is a big responsibility. As your parents, our job is to keep you safe, so we'll need to check it sometimes. It becomes a condition for using the technology, not a punishment. A parent's most important job is to protect their child from harm. In the 21st century, protecting our children must include protecting them online. Monitoring is a necessary part of that job.
Thank you, David, for that clear explanation. Dr. Carter, you have a different perspective. Please share your opening statement with us.
Of course, Sarah, and I want to begin by saying that David's concerns are completely valid. Every parent worries about online dangers, and we all share the same goal, keeping our children safe. However, I believe the method we use to achieve that safety is very important for a child's development. My main concern with monitoring is that it can break the trust between a parent and a child. As children, and especially as teenagers, grow, they need to have a sense of privacy. This privacy allows them to develop their own thoughts, friendships, and identity. It's a natural part of becoming an independent adult. If a child feels that their parents are always watching them and reading their private messages, it sends a clear message: we do not trust you. This can damage the parent-child relationship in the long term. When that trust is broken, children are less likely to come to their parents when they have a real problem. They might hide things, not because they're doing something wrong, but because they're afraid of getting into trouble or being judged. My second point is that children are often smarter with technology than we think. If they know they are being monitored, many will find ways to communicate in secret. They might use apps their parents have never heard of, or create second accounts, or delete messages before a parent can see them. This turns safety into a game of, quote, cat and mouse, where the parent is always trying to catch up. In this situation, monitoring gives parents a false sense of security. They think they see everything, but they are only seeing what their child allows them to see. So, what is the alternative? I believe the best tool we have is education. Our primary goal should be to teach our children how to navigate the online world safely and responsibly on their own. This means having open and regular conversations about the dangers David mentioned. We need to talk about what cyberbullying looks like. why they should never share personal information, and what to do if they see something that makes them feel uncomfortable. It also means setting clear rules together as a family, not just imposing them. When we teach them good digital citizenship, how to be kind and respectful online, we are giving them skills for life. Building a relationship where your child feels safe and comfortable coming to you with any problem is the best protection you can give them.
Thank you, Dr. Carter. You have both given us strong arguments to consider. Let's move into our discussion. I'd like you to have a chance to respond to each other's points. David, I'll start with you. Dr. Carter's main point is about trust. If a parent is constantly checking their child's phone and messages, how can they build that trusting relationship that Dr. Carter says is so important?
That is a fair question. Trust is absolutely important, and I am not suggesting that we should spy on our children in secret and never talk about it. But I believe we need to see trust and safety as two things that work together, not against each other. For younger children, let's say under the age of 13 or 14, safety has to be the #1 priority. At that age, they are still learning to understand complex social situations and consequences. Their ability to see danger is not fully developed. In this case, monitoring is a safety net. I like to call this approach trust but verify. It means you trust your child to make good choices, but you verify that they are safe by checking in. As the child gets older and shows more responsibility, the level of monitoring can change. Maybe you stop checking daily messages and instead have weekly check-ins about their online life. The monitoring becomes less direct as the trust is earned and their skills improve. It's a gradual process of giving them more freedom.
Dr. Carter, what do you think of that trust but verify approach? Does it solve the problem?
I understand the idea behind trust but verify, but I worry it still sends a mixed message. The verify part can feel bigger than the trust part to a teenager. It can still feel like you're waiting for them to make a mistake. Also, David mentioned that this should be an open agreement. I agree that honesty is better than secret spying. However, for a child, it might not feel like a real agreement if the alternative is, you don't get a phone. They agree to it because they have no other choice, not because they feel it is fair. This can lead to resentment over time.
Dr. Carter, let me ask you a question in return. The dangers that David described, like online predators or severe cyberbullying, are very serious and can happen very quickly. Is having open conversations really enough to stop an immediate threat? If a child is already in a dangerous online situation and is too scared to talk about it?
That is the most difficult question, and it is where my approach requires a lot of parental effort. Let me be clear. If a parent knows their child is in immediate danger, they must step in. That is not a question. A child's life and safety are the most important things. However, my argument is that a child who has a strong, trusting relationship with their parent is more likely to tell them about a problem before it becomes a crisis. They will mention the person who sent them a strange message. They will talk about the friend who said something mean online. These small invitations to talk are the moments where parents can help before things get very bad. There are also practical steps that are not as invasive as reading private messages. For example, you can have family rules, like all phones and devices must be charged overnight in the living room, not in the bedroom. This prevents late-night browsing and conversations when kids are tired and more vulnerable. You can also insist that computers are used in open family areas, like the kitchen or living room. These methods create supervision without breaking the privacy of their personal conversations.
But what if the child does find a way around those rules? Dr. Carter, you yourself said that kids are smart and can hide things. If the phone is in the living room, they can still use a secret app and delete the conversation before morning. How do you stop that?
You are right, David. No system is perfect. A child who is determined to hide something will often find a way. That is true for my method and for yours. But my focus is on the why. Why is the child hiding something? Is it because they are scared of a predator? Or are they scared of their parents? If we build our relationship on a foundation of trust, we make it more likely that they are hiding things from the online danger, not from us. We want them to see us as their safe place to go when they have a problem.
I think we are underestimating how quickly these situations can happen. A child can be contacted and manipulated in a single afternoon while a parent is at work, before there has been any chance for an open conversation. Monitoring software can send a parent an alert immediately if a dangerous word or phrase is used. It's an early warning system. It can be the difference between stopping a problem at the beginning and discovering it months later.
This discussion has been incredibly insightful. We are reaching the end of our time, so I'd like to ask you both for a brief closing statement. David, would you like to begin?
Certainly. I want to repeat that the online world has real and serious dangers, and it is a parent's fundamental responsibility to protect their children from harm. Thinking that conversations alone are enough is a risk that I am not willing to take with my own children. Monitoring is just one tool, but it is a powerful one. It should be used together with education, open conversations, and clear rules. It is not about a lack of trust. It is about an abundance of caution. We put locks on our doors and teach our kids to look both ways before crossing the street. Monitoring their online world is the same basic, necessary act of parenting in our modern age.
Thank you, David. And Dr. Carter, your final thoughts.
My final thoughts are focused on the future. Monitoring might feel safer in the short term, but our ultimate goal is to raise adults who can keep themselves safe. The foundation of long-term safety is built on trust, open communication, and critical thinking skills. When we teach our children how to identify risks and what to do when they feel unsafe, we give them tools they will use for the rest of their lives. Our job is not just to protect our children today, but to prepare them to be safe and responsible adults tomorrow. The strongest firewall you can build for your child is not on a computer. It is the open, honest, and trusting relationship you have with them.
A powerful closing statement from both of you. Thank you, David Chen and Dr. Emily Carter, for sharing your expert opinions with us today. We have heard two very different approaches. One focused on active supervision for immediate safety, and the other on building trust for long-term independence. We hope this conversation helps our listeners think about their own family values and their child-specific needs, to find a balanced approach that works for them. Thank you for listening to Modern Families.